I'm Aga from G2 Esports, and today I'm joined by GrabbZ, head coach of Fnatic. Hi.
Hi.
So we are almost at the finish line of LEC playoffs with only 2 matches left, and you guys have just beaten Movistar KOI in, let's be fair, not the cleanest but still more convincing fashion than the BDS series, especially if we forget about that third game and some upsets from game 1. So did you expect it to go this way, or did you rather expect your players to play better or maybe worse?
I think I can be happy with the overall performance. Of course, there's always something to improve on, and there were, of course, some shaky moments. But we kind of knew how Mad Lions wants to play, or moves are Riders KOI, sorry. And our players respected that. And I think if you do this against this team, then they're going to struggle. So they're playing like a very fast-paced, aggressive style. So it's not even that easy to play controlled against them, because you have to make really sure that you make the correct steps, and we did today overall. So I'm happy. But yeah, we had confidence and we thought we would beat them, yeah.
So overall, you are satisfied and no belt for the boys today?
Not for gameplay. I think communication sometimes is a bit too stressed, but that's also because we are not consistent in our practice behavior on stage. So this is something that we have a long-term process with. But yeah, no belt today.
Yeah, also, it felt like in the regular split, none of the latest issues were showing up, and you and Mickey mentioned on the last Euphoria episode that most of the teams were simply terrible back then, and that's basically why you were smashing everyone. Do you feel like others catching up was the main reason you looked much worse lately, or there was something different going on other than upset feeling unwell in the G2 match?
I mean, of course, we played way worse. I don't necessarily think that other teams got way better. I think the overall level of the region is not necessarily really high. For example, even against G2 at game 1, we should never lose, and they probably know it as well. Like, G2 will also say rightfully that they played bad, right? I think we don't have to sugarcoat things here. But I still think that, especially like K Corp and G2 have a really good work process. I really enjoy streaming them, so I'm not surprised them being on top. But I think it's more that we defeated ourselves more than opponents outplayed us in a way. But they have the same claim. It just shows that the region, or like many teams, are not playing consistent and good enough. That's just how it is.
Okay, and speaking more of Mickey and Upsets, how do you rate their bot lane synergy so far? Are they mostly on the same page, or are there still communications issues between them?
No, I think they're all pretty on the same page when it comes to training phases. I think they have a clear picture of what they want to play into what lanes, which as coaching staff sometimes can be hard to get them to that point in draft because they're also very demanding. But so far they're always repaying us with good performances. So I'm really happy with how they work together and work with us.
And speaking of that preparation, in most of the playoff games, you were opting for standard drafts despite the fearless mode. Is it because you think meta picks are still the best recipe for success, or maybe there is a different reason, like player feeling more comfortable with some choices?
Hard to say. I think there's just so many good champions that the first drafts always feel standard because in every case there will be an OP open that we will see very often. I think our Draven Trap into Kalista didn't work out, right? But it's not a standard draft, I would say. The same way here, I mean, we got Skarner, just that every team tries to get an advantage by baiting a pick. Of course, like KOI had their own clear idea against Skarner, didn't work out the same way ours against them didn't work out in regular season. But I don't think it's necessarily talk about comfort. Of course, we have in mind what we perceive them as their comfort, and if we have a choice between two champions, we will take the one that we think they want to play. So, for example, also we know that Yo-Yo really wants the Yone, wants the Azir. So we can have plans around, okay, what happens if they pick the champion? That's for sure the simplest preparation. And I think that's what every team does or should do. I just think we had a good read today on what they want to do, besides game 3. But I think even there, it's just a snowball draft. If they dodge the lane, then it's going to be hard. We hooked up on the swap. So we play it again and we get the lanes, actually. Maybe it's better. Have to see.
Of course, so how do you like Fearless overall? Do you think making it a one split wonder and coming back to regular format after first stand is a good idea?
I would be really disappointed if it doesn't stay. I don't want to go back to normal drafting. I think champion pools and creativity and even for coaching staff to react to what is banned is a skill that is rightfully being tested. Of course, you can always argue about the mastery of playing the same champion over and over again. But I prefer much this point of view of also showing the viewers a bit more variety and just being more creative and reacting better. I think that's a good way to approach the official games. So I think Riot should keep it for sure.
Yeah, it's also less boring than seeing Azir versus Corki 5 games straight. And alright, digging a bit into your past, do you see any similarities between coaching G2 back in the days and now Fnatic, given they are also veteran players at this point, maybe except Oscar? And on the other hand, what are the main differences?
The culture is different. I think. I mean, it's also hard to say because in G2 I have the image of what happened after winning 3 years in a row, right? Like 2 years, winning 2019, 2020. So, of course, everything feels easier. So I'm not quite sure how the image is poisoned by that. Of course, the communication structures are different. The way we approach to talk about the game is different. We are a bit more professional compared to G2, a lot more professional. Also because, again, my role is a bit different than in G2, right? This whole facilitating meme, which I can't hear it anymore, but I guess I'm facilitating the structure again in the deck, if that's what the viewers want to hear. But we, as coaching staff, especially Gax also, we can bring clear ideas of how we want to play the game. And the players have to fill that room, and I think they're doing a good job there. It's just that I think the process of how ideas are being talked about is a bit slower here in Fnatic. I think in G2 there was a way more open forum for it than here right now, which is something we want to get to. But then again, like I can't really remember how it was in 2019 in the beginning, right? Like I have the image in mind how we were towards the end of our stint together. So hopefully we'll get there with time as well.
Sure thing. And speaking more about G2, what do you think makes them so good, regardless of the roster and changing players, usually year after year? Is it more about the management, or is it just the caps factor, for example?
I think it's together Caps and BB. Dylan Falco, I think, is really good at giving them draft plans and making sure that the players know how to play their comp, which is already helpful, right? You also have something to fall back on the structure. So I think that's what he provides for, especially Caps and BB. And I think they have high highs, sure, but I think their strength lies more in the consistency and also their experience on behind. For example, I think a team like K-Corp right now, they're still young, right? The players in K-Corp. So they're really good if they're in situations that they're used to. Like if they're slightly ahead or if they're champions. But as soon as they fall behind, they might struggle against certain compositions because they just don't have the experience. And I feel like with G2, they've been in these situations, especially Caps and BB, that they, especially if BB is the one that talks a lot as well, there's always an option to play. Like if you're behind, okay, what can we actually do? Like this conversation, it seems very simple, but it's actually really hard to find the outs in a game. And I think these two players especially are really good at this. So that's why G2 feels so consistently good, because if they're ahead, they play it out like we would, like K-Corp. If they're behind, they have a really high ceiling of how good they can still play. But I don't see, especially right now, why they would have a higher high than we can have. I don't think so.
So you don't think that consistency makes them unbeatable again? And do you think you still have what it takes to win it all?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I believe we are running out of time, so one last question. How confident do you feel going against KC tomorrow?
Very confident, but of course they're a strong opponent, right? I still think we should beat them if we play to our highest level. But they're for sure stronger than KOI. So if we do the same mistakes we did today, we will lose. So we have to show improvement from today to tomorrow. We clearly know what was iffy today. We addressed it already. And so we have reason to be confident for tomorrow, and I believe we can win.
Cool. So thank you for your time and good luck in the next match. Hopefully you're not gonna lose all your hair this playoffs.
I'm fine. I'm used to it. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.